It's always nice when your outfit gets a hand.
Yeah, that, let me ask you about that. Is that a little, normally you don't look like that?
Well, not all the time, but certainly not publicly.
Parties and so forth?
But I'm going to do the midnight special tonight, and, well, you know how those young people dress.
Oh, these kids today, I tell you. Thank you. Lily Tomlin is here. You know, when I was in high school, the kind of people I were frightened by, we used to call them hoods.
Uh-huh.
And even the women were kind of, and I know you have a person who is a kind of a
Kind of hoodie. Well, yeah. She was, she was sort of like me. I kind of had one foot in the collegiate world and one foot in the hoodie world. and so I was just sort of semi-hoodie. But, so I made I have an old character I used to do. You want me to do a little bit of it?
Yes, please.
Tony, let's see, where should I start? I have to stand up, though, because physically, I hope these boots don't upstage me. Anyway, Tony's talking to her girlfriend Margot, and they're at a dance, and they're dancing, and let's see, Tony says something like, so anyways, Margot, so Frankie was laying rubber in front of the bowling alley, and there was some punk there from the Heights, you know, kept yelling Frankie's name. Hey, Frankie! So Frankie yells back, that's my name, don't wear it out. Yeah, really shot the punk down. Then the next thing you know, this dud wants to drag Frankie for pink, so Frankie tells the creep, he says, dry up and float away. Then honest to God, Margot, just as we're peeling out, Frankie sticks his hand in his pit and shoots the guy a couple of real loud ones. I ain't lying, Margot. Frankie's got a great personality.
Lovely phrase that is, shoots his hand in his pit and shoots him a couple of loud ones. Yeah, poetry. Now, has this evolved, this character, through the
well,
decades?
She hasn't, but then I milked that 50s character for all it was worth. And then, then I did a 60s character, and her name was Glenna, and she was a much longer saga, of course, because I was able to, when I did Tony, it seemed you could essence a 50s teenager down into a relatively short, simple monologue. And when I did Glenna, I found to cover the decade, I had to have her grow up and everything. But I'm just going to do a little portion from her early life. And she's also dancing in her bedroom, waiting for her girlfriend Janie to call her. So she's dancing more like, I want to hold your hand. I want to hold your hand. Janie, did you get the tickets? Thank God. Murray the K just said that Paul is getting married, that only leaves George and Ringo. I'm going to kill myself. Just a second. What, Mother? I am doing my geometry. Our high school is such a drag. The principal, Mr. Delmar, is so mainstream. The day Kennedy got killed, all the other schools got out at 4th period. We had to stay till 7th because Mr. Delmar didn't want to be an alarmist. These teachers are so hung up on this reality trip. A bunch of fact freaks. I mean, when was the last time an isosceles triangle came up in a rap you were having? Like last week, I got suspended for pushing pills on the school lawn. They are so lame. I was not pushing, I was just fulfilling a need. Now my father's club wants me to make a speech about the drug problem. Can you dig it? I should tell them my biggest drug problem is I can't get my mother's prescriptions refilled.
You know, when you are around people like that,
yes.
It is amazing because it's just right on the money. I think most people grow out of that, don't you?
Yes. Well, Glenna grew out of it.
Yeah.
And then she, in fact, in the monologue, you know, she watches TV as a child. She watches I Love Lucy with her family, and she always remembers that they all laughed at Lucy. And then later, when she's more in her high school and college years, and she starts smoking, experimenting with drugs and smoking grass. Then she watches Lucy when she's stoned, you know, because she says let's watch an old Lucy rerun. It's the only thing that makes sense anymore. And then at the end of the monologue, after she's a mother and has a Spanish maid and lives in suburbia and everything, and has her own children, you find out that her children are still watching Lucy.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was sort of the thread that tied the piece together in the decade for me. But I did another character, too, an older character, Lucille W., the rubber freak.
Now, when you say rubber freak, you mean?
A person who's addicted to eating rubber objects.
That happened a lot more than we would know, I guess, huh?
I think so.
Lucille W., the rubber freak.
Yeah, of course, she was, it's a little, of course, it's a suspension of disbelief, because if you did literally ingest rubber objects, I suppose you would eventually, like, keel over.
Be vulcanized in some awful manner, I would suspect.
But I'll do a little tiny bit. Now, it's really hard to do Lucille in these boots, because Lucille usually sits on a stool and sort of leans off to the side, you know, just precariously, but I won't attempt to do that. I'll just start doing her. Let's see. I'd love to do it to you, but they won't be able to see my face. Let's see. That was figurative.
Yeah. Oh, I see the part about doing it to me. Oh. Yeah, I understand. Well, actually, they could probably still see your face.
Could they?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, here we go. Okay. My name is Lucille W. I'm a rubber freak. It's all right, I can talk about it now. Of course, there was a time when I couldn't. When I look back on it, I think it all started with rubber bands. I wasn't actually swallowing them in those days, just sort of munched on them. Then one day I sat down to balance my checkbook. I must have blacked out. Because when I came to, I realized I'd eaten the eraser off my pencil. Wasn't no time at all. I was up to 20 pencils a day. All my friends, my relatives, they started saying, Lucille, don't you think you've had enough? Could handle it. Instead, I became a secret eraser eater. Started to take all my household money and spend it on art gum. One day my husband came home early. I was just finishing off a typewriter eraser. He caught me with the brush sticking out of my mouth.
Now, when you decided you were going to be Lucille W., the rubber freak,
yes.
I mean, that's not a notion that occurs to us on a regular basis, you know?
Why did I do that?
Yeah.
Well, I was, truthfully, or factually, I was interested in a nutritional condition that's called pica. Because I personally used to have an obsession with wanting to drink petroleum products. I mean, is gasoline, is that consistent?
I think gasoline falls in that category, yeah. A petroleum product, yeah.
And, you know, it doesn't taste nearly as good as it smells.
Have you ever done that? You get a point. It does smell great, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm even, like, sort of starting to like, enjoy smelling car exhaust.
Oh, now that's a bad sign.
No, I know, but, you know, I figured that it's probably because I'm going to survive, and I'm probably adjusting and adapting
my species is adapting.
My breathing apparatus,
yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Because it started to become very attractive to me.
I remember as a kid, when Dad would get the old family sedan gassed up, I thinking to myself, boy, if I could get a decanter of this stuff at home. We have to pause here.
All right.
I want to thank you for being with us tonight.